officer earlier of the university, and also our well-wisher to all your information here. First of all, I would like to welcome Dr. T.K. Prabhakar Shetty sir. I think most of you who are sitting here, you may be aware of his name. By physically, some of you know him very well. And for the information of the participants from the other states, Dr. T.K. Prabhakar Shetty is a well-known agronomist. Actually, he was our teacher also. He served in various positions in the University of Agricultural Sciences, Bangalore. He served as professor of agronomy at one of our zonal agriculture horticulture research station at Brahmawar. And later on, he came to here as professor of agronomy in the Department of Agronomy. And whatever the transformations or whatever the developments what you are seeing in this campus, it's all happened because of Dr. T.K. Prabhakar Shetty sir, because he was here as HOD of the department. Later he became Dean of this College of Agriculture. So under his leadership, this campus is responsible for commencement of first of all Areca Research Center in the campus, because this entire Shumaga and surrounding areas, the predominant crop is Areca nut. So looking to the importance of this crop, of course this crop was not a traditional crop or mandatory crop for ICR system. So because of that reason, in order to give due prominence to Areca nut crop, since it's a predominant crop here, he was the person responsible for commencement of Areca Research Center in this campus. Later on, KVK was also established. NATP KVK was established in the year 1996, and it becomes a permanent KVK in the year 2004. He was also instrumental for commencement of KVK in this station. And maybe in the year 2006, sir was also responsible for establishment of Organic Farming Research Center in the Navile campus, because this area is known for cultivation of crops by exclusively following the organic farming practices. Yesterday they have visited some farmers field also, sir. They witnessed the farmers field, how exactly they are practicing the organic or natural farming practices in their own farm. So looking to that importance or looking to that relevance in this area, sir was at that time he was director of research at US Bangalore. So he took lot of initiative to establish Organic Farming Research Center in this station. During that time only sir was discussed with government of Karnataka, and they have sanctioned almost 2 crores of money to establish Organic Farming Research Center in this campus. So later on it becomes functional. So, and he served in the university as director of research, and later on he became director of extension also for some period of time. And after his superannuation also, sir is very busy in promoting whatever the knowledge he is having in agriculture to the farmers, as well as to the young scientists, and as well as teachers who are serving in the university. So sir was advisor for the government of Karnataka to promote natural farming practices in the entire state by covering almost all the 10 agroclimatic zones. So because of his initiative only, all the universities could receive zero budget natural farming project for a worth of almost 40,000 crores rupees. So that much amount was given to all the universities to scientifically validate the zero budget natural farming practices. That was operated like a operational research project in almost the intention was to bring almost 1 lakh hectare area under zero budget natural farming. So in the first instance we could able to cover 20,000 hectares in almost all the jurisdictional area of the 10 agroclimatic zones. So he was very supportive and very cordial with the department to promote natural farming practices in the research institutes of all the agricultural universities, and also we could able to demonstrate the natural farming practices in the farmers field also. So later on, that project was there for almost 4 years. It was operational, and later on our CM proposed one more program, Chief Minister's natural farming practices, to promote the natural farming practices further in the farmers field. For that project also, sir was giving the technical support to the government. So with all these knowledge and with all these voluminous information, I thought of inviting sir as a resource person to deliver a lecture to all of you. Sir, all these participants, we are having 27 participants. All these are deputed from their university, and the intention of ICR is also to orient the faculty members about natural farming at the state level and also at the national level, because as sir is knowing, the country is moving towards the having the national mission on natural farming, sir. With that is the one intention. And the another intention is, we are the scientists working in the KVK system, they should also involve in adopting natural farming practices for their demonstration in the farmers field. And very recently they are thought of introducing UG one course of undergraduate program on natural farming. So to orient all these aspects about natural farming to the faculty members of the different state agricultural university, ICAR has sponsored this program to our university, and we invited the participants from Dapoli. 5 participants are from Dapoli, Maharashtra, and 4 are from PJT SCIU. 3 participants are from US Bangalore, and 4 are from UHS Bagalkot, and 5 resource persons, 5 participants are from US Raichur, and our host institute participants, their number is almost 5, sir. So totally we have 27 participants. We commenced this program from 30th of this month. This is the 4th day of our training program. So sir, on behalf of the university and on my personal behalf and on behalf of all the participants, I profusely welcome for this program, sir. And all of you should give a big hand to such a knowledgeable resource person once again. And all of their interest is to know very important principle and practices of natural farming, and sir is the right person to deliver a talk on that. So immediately after this program, sir will commence the class. And one more eminent resource person with us is Dr. N. Dev Kumar. He is also a very good agronomist and senior person. And across the state, in our state, when it comes to organic farming, means the first name comes to our mind, and also some of the farmers' mind is Dr. N. Dev Kumar. He is such a personality who dedicated almost half of his service for towards organic farming. So even after his superannuation, sir served as coordinator of Organic Farming Research Center from 2006 to 2009 in our station. Later on, he also served in the Regional Organic Farming Research Center at GKVK for some period of time. Afterwards, he became Dean of College of Agriculture, Hassan, and then he shifted to headquarters at GKVK Bangalore. He became Director of Extension, and then for some period of time he also served as Registrar of the University. So even after his superannuation, sir is involved in promoting the organic farming practices in the farmers field. So both these persons, even after their retirement, they are not tired to share their knowledge even to the farming community and also to the scientific community. So on behalf of all the participants and on my personal behalf, on behalf of the university, I also cordially welcome Dr. N. Dev Kumar sir for this program. And one of our senior colleague and best friend of mine is Dr. Modal Giriyappa. He is served in the university and is presently working as chief scientist in the Dryland Agriculture Research Project at GKVK Bangalore. He is also having very versatile knowledge on organic farming, especially on integrated farming system and designing of cropping system and crop diversification. Presently, he is also so much a knowledgeable person. Added to that, he is a winner of State Award, Nagama Dattatreya Award, and also very recently he has been awarded with the National Award, Kalaya Krishnamurthy National Award for his immense research work in the field of dryland agriculture. So sir is also with us. I also welcome him on behalf of all the participants, on my personal behalf, on behalf of the university. Sir, you are cordially welcome to this function. So all these three resource persons will deliver the classes, and I have also given you what are all the topics they are going to deliver. My request to all of you is, such a resourceful persons are with us. You try to get the whatever the knowledge you want to get, because this is a wonderful opportunity. We are all very much fortunate to have such a kind of resource persons in this program. With these few words about the resource persons, now I request Dr. T.K. Prabhakar Shetty sir to deliver a lecture on overview of adoption of natural farming practices in different agroclimatic situations of Karnataka. Thank you very much.
You want to go? Okay. ಆಯ್ತು. ಇಲ್ಲ 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 ಇಲ್ಲ. It is, we are not spending any money on the externally purchased inputs like fertilizers or plant protection chemicals and all. So that's why they call it as zero budget natural farming. But in the planning commission, Niti Aayog, lot of discussions went on before approving this in 2021. So finally they came to the word, they removed this zero budget because this conveys so many meanings and all. So finally they made only natural farming system. Natural farming system, you mean the system of natural farming, how we have to maintain our food production. But see, if you think of the geographical area of our country, you cannot increase the geographical area. Avata, can we do? This side Bay of Bengal, Arabian Sea, Himalayan mountains, and our friendly nations, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and top China. All are very friendly nations. Howda? Friendly? See, you remember in Ukraine, now war is going on more than 1 year. Okay? There are 20 lakh, 2 million refugees from Ukraine. They have gone to different places like Poland, Germany, France and all. They are maintaining those people. Imagine if such a thing happens to India, where will you go? Huh? Can you go to Pakistan or to Bangladesh or to Sri Lanka? Where do you go? So we will have to either to die or go to war front and fight. Only two options we have. So we have to think, and a strong government at the center is required, whoever it may be. Otherwise our future will be bleak. So we cannot survive in the future years. If you go on differentiating this, that and all, that is not possible. You have to be very careful. Okay. So this is the one side. If you are self-sufficient in food sector, see, that's what the present government did. See, the food production is 315 million tons now. For 2 years, if there is no sowing, nothing, we can maintain. When you have sufficient food at your home, you are not bothered. Otherwise, what is happening in Gaza Strip and all, you may be seeing in the news and also reading in the newspapers every day. They are suffering so much. Am I right? Why? It is the making of their own. Why did this Hamas terrorist organization went and fought with Israel and they massacred more than 400 people? All these things happened. So that should not happen. Now they have started bombarding with missiles. So all these things is really a very bad situation in the international politics. But whatever it may be, one has to be self-sufficient in food. If you are self-sufficient in food, you will have strength to fight. If you take breakfast and lunch and all timely, then you will have courage and strength to fight. Otherwise, you are nothing. So that should not happen. Always we should depend on the food availability, food production. That is the first priority, we should make it. So keep that in your mind and plan it for the further things. So modern farming system, although it started in 65 to 70, 75, then it went on like that. And nobody started thinking of the soil conditions, nutrition and all. So that is very much required in the modern farming. What are the practical problems in the present day? Every one of you know it. How it is the problem? People are leaving agriculture. In 1950, 51, first census, 83% of our population was dependent on agriculture. They were all living in rural areas. Today, it is only 49% are living in rural areas. And by 2030, we have written for Sustainable Development Goal. We have taken a project on that. End hunger and sustainable agriculture. So we have compiled the data of the entire country. So we have projected this will come to 40% by 2030. People are migrating from rural areas to urban areas. Nobody will go to agriculture now. How many of you have agriculture lands? You are maintaining, managing, making profit? Because you are a government employee, you are getting monthly salary, after retirement you will get pension, and see the problems in farming. You may be investing couple of lakhs in the every year for maintaining your farm. How much you are getting back? So that you should tell me. So you will be taken out from the government service. You will be asked to go to your farm. How many of you will go back? Very good. You will be having more than 20 acres land. And a plantation crop, coconut. Some perennial regular income. Coconut crop prices have also fallen down. So labor has increased. See the problems, soils are, most of it is unproductive. In the Karnataka or in the national level also, soil sampling from Ashok Dalwai has taken up lot of work. See, reduced organic matter. Yes, sir, any point to be clarified? Sir, any point to be clarified? Okay. See, soil, it is reduced organic matter content, declined soil health. So soil health is, microbial population has gone down. See, climate change, you must have seen last 100 years data if you study. For Shivamogga itself, it is 800 mm. This year not even 400 mm. Bangalore, we are seeing Bangalore 920 mm, but this year we have got only 500 mm. And distribution is also horrible. It's Rabi season, northeast monsoons, they have not started at all. Karnataka northeast monsoon, 35 lakh hectares should come. Bengal gram is there, Rabi jawar, then wheat, bajra, so many crops are there, but not a single acre is sown. Such a pathetic situation we are facing. This climate change is aberration. So many changes they take place. And unseasonal rainfall, where you will be in harvesting season and all problems will come up. So only in irrigated areas. None of the reservoirs are full. Every day you may be seeing in the newspapers, Kaveri issue is there, Krishna problem is there, Mahadayi problem is there. See, I was representing as an agriculture expert in the Supreme Court for Kaveri, interstate Kaveri dispute. Lot of problems. See, you may be seeing in the papers every day. Now, yesterday, Kaveri Management Authority has given 2,500 cusecs you have to release every day for another 15 days. Where is the water? And they go on asking, they ask 13,000, 15,000 cusecs every day. But where is the water? How to allow? If you don't release, then the Supreme Court come into the picture and they will say they destabilize the government. So such a problems are coming up. So for that what we have to do? Because the rainfall is not there and it is unseasonal. No reservoir is full in Karnataka. All are having only less than 50% water. So where will be the production? Second, where will be the drinking water? Kaveri demands or needs for more than 2/3 of Bangalore water supply is from Kaveri. And now if Kaveri water is released for all these Tamil Nadu, then you will not have water for drinking from next December onwards. Such a situation is there in Karnataka. But by and large, we should see that the management should be so effective for the climate resilience. Then temperature anomaly, sometimes we get cold in the month of March itself. It's a pure summer months. All these things are happening because they say, oh, El Nino effect, or somebody will tell some other effect. But these things are happening because of our intervention in the climate. Because so much of pollution is happening, whether maybe vehicles or maybe other sectors, factories, industries, and from agriculture also. How atmospheric pollution takes place from agriculture? Methane emission from paddy lands. How much? Almost more than 40 million hectares of paddy is cultivated. And the changed system of paddy cultivation of aerobic rice and others, we go on bombarding all scientists, they give research papers, so many research papers will be there. But how many are there in the field? Why aerobic rice is not becoming popular? So we are also contributing almost 10% for atmospheric pollution. So all these things added and deforestation. Forest trees being denuded. All these things will add to the climate problems. Then pest and diseases. See, pest and diseases you should understand when you go on applying only fertilizers. What happened? There was one study. You maybe even in WhatsApp also you are getting a lot of messages. Whatever we eat, like cabbage or carrot or any vegetable, if you test it, they are all higher in the pesticide load. Am I right? We are all eating, but we are surviving. All we know that you take any sample from market, you analyze pesticide residues, their required quantity in the almost 3 times, 4 times it is higher. It is unfit for consumption. Not for human beings, even for animals also it is unfit. But still we eat, but still we are surviving, alva? Surviving or not? Yake? How? No, simple. How do you eat these vegetables? Boil and cook in the pressure cooker. So they become detoxified. Otherwise, raw vegetables you are not eating. Only in foreign countries, salads they eat. We also eat salads. When we go for bar, you take some liquor. That will also detoxify. And we are living with this. Am I right or not? Oh, good. So, so lot of research was done. Pest and disease complex has increased because of increased application of fertilizers, and the crop becomes succulent for pest and diseases. So, to to see that to safeguard the crop, we go on using higher doses of pesticides. So for that, the only answer is, see, you have to go for transgenic materials. Like say cotton. Cotton, what happened? Almost if you see 10-15 years back data, more than 55 to 60% of our pesticides produced in India were utilized only on cotton crop. Okay? So now not even 5%, because the BT gene was introduced, BT cotton has come. Almost 99% of cotton, wherever you go in the entire country, it is only BT cotton. Pesticide use has reduced. Soil we have beneficial organisms will grow. But why BT crops are not allowed? BT mustard has come almost 8-10 years back, but still it is not being popularized. Who is behind this? BT rice is there, BT everything, BT crops are there. Why they are not coming to the market? Who will make them to protest? Politicians, jokingly, these pesticide companies, they fund these people for protesting in the name of, because their market will be less. See, simple things you should understand. Everything is behind this marketing strategy. You eat papaya? You take a papaya sample, you take. If you see, you go to our physiology laboratory, anywhere in all universities, ELISA test is done for the food product. So you see the test, it is a BT only. Papaya ring spot virus cannot be controlled, so that's why they introduced from back door. So everything is the transgenic material only. But we eat papaya, we are surviving, nobody is questioning that also. Otherwise, not a single papaya would have been in the market now. So such things, people are in different attitude, mainly because they are all motivated, funded by these multinational pesticide companies. Even people say Corona also came because of these pharma companies. Corona, they only instituted, simply they charge China or that country, this country, but these are the real crooks. So it's all marketing strategy of these pharma companies or our pesticide companies. They want to have their own business. Okay, that's maybe don't take it whatever I say is correct. You should also think, introspect whether it is right or not. But whatever information I have gathered from different sources, I am just putting forth, and I don't defend that also. But if you just think for a couple of minutes, then you will understand, oh, it may be the real thing. Okay. Then human and animal health, it's also affected because of pesticide residues and so many other problems. Then labor is another problem. Labor wages, 500, less than 500, do you get any labor? Agriculture? Men labor, women labor, if you go to interior parts of either Andhra, Telangana, Maharashtra or Karnataka, anywhere, less than 500 you don't get. NREGA we give 315, that also very haphazardly work is done, and system is also different type. So these are some of the major problems in agriculture. That's why people will not go for take up the agriculture. And some of the software industry people, they go for agriculture. They purchase 2 acres, 3 acres of land, and they construct one small guest house like building, and they go for weekend and come back. That's all. For recreation purpose they will have, not for agriculture. See, area is getting down and all. There are a lot of problems in agriculture. See, the background I was telling so much, this is all the background. liberalization yavagaittu, when did it happen, liberalization? 90s, when Narasimha Rao was there, Manmohan Singh ji. So they did a marvelous job for the country. They entered into WTO conferences and liberalization took place and all. That is in that period that led to agrarian crisis. Lot of problems came up with that, but that is, on one hand, it was a really advantageous situation. So small scale farming, see, average land holding size for an economical living, how much it should be? 2.56 hectares is the minimum size of holding that is required to be sustainable, self-sustainable. 2.56 hectares with irrigation. Without irrigation, at least 5 hectares. This is the minimum size. But do you know what is the average land holding size in Karnataka? It is 1.31 now. By 2030, it will come down to 1.15. National average, if you take it, today itself it is 1.1. National, entire nation. But I do not know the different states, I can get it. But such a small holding, how can you get it, this self-sustainability? That's practically difficult. So that has resulted small scale farmers. So farming becoming uneconomical. So that is the background which should think it's the vocation itself is people are moving out of agriculture to building construction. You may be seeing building constructions are going on everywhere, either in Bangalore, Pune or anywhere, all cities. You take out 5-10 minutes time, go to and talk to them. They are friendly persons. How are you? Where are you from? Do you have land? How you are sustaining and all? Why are you coming here for doing this work and all? They say we are from Gulbarga, we are from Raichur, we are from Yadgiri, or some. They even Goa also. If you go, it's all from these areas. The labor force. They also have land, 4 acres, 5 acres land. It is all such a difficult situation. Why they come? And if you see, you go Karnataka, we have Kolar and Chikbalapur, 2 districts. We have made the survey with a Government of India project. See, these 2 districts, they are adjacent to Bangalore. Just within 30-40 minutes they can come to Bangalore. But you ask anywhere, there is not a single person from Kolar or Chikbalapur who is working as a laborer. They are there. Some areas they are drivers and all. But these construction or road formation and all workers, they are not there. Why? ಅವ್ರು ಬಿಡಿ, ಬೇರೆ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ನವ್ರು ಬಿಡಿ, ನಮ್ಮವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದವರು. ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ ನೀರಿಲ್ಲ. ಸಿ ಇರಿಗೇಷನ್ ಈಸ್ ಲೆಸ್ than 10% in those districts. ಆ ಬೋರ್ವೆಲ್ if you dig 1500 feet deep, water will get half inch, 1 inch maximum. Yes, it is an integrated farming system approach they are following. Every farmer, if you go, we have taken a sample size of 3000 farmers in the entire 2 districts. Not a single farmer is there with only crop. There is agriculture, horticulture, dairy, piggery, sheep, goat rearing, everything is entangled or it is there with that system. So they will, even if they come to Bangalore, they will go back at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock back. They have to milk it and by 7 o'clock they have to supply to the Nandini counters. Every village they have the collection booth, milk collection booth. So they sustain. So they don't want to come to Bangalore or for any other urban areas. So they will maintain in that only. Even if a farmer has got 1 acre, 2 acres, even landless, they maintain and they continue. Second point is suicide. Suicide data we taken for 20 years for different districts in entire Karnataka. Suicide is less than 5 in these two districts, whereas the districts like Mandya or Gulbarga or Bijapur, Belgaum, you take, it is more than 50 every year. Why? Monocropping, sugarcane, crop loss, alva. Here even 4-5 idrunu, they are not due to crop loss. It is due to some family problem or some love affair or like that. They have committed suicide. But practically not a single farmer is committing suicide in these two districts because of crop failure or economic loss. So that is the advantage of or the strength of integrated agriculture. Then see the seeds and all privatized, so they are all expensive and for the farmers. So entire farming community, they are in the vicious cycle. So purchase input cost is increasing and output cost, it is completely crashing at the time of harvest. Tomato, it went up to 120, 150 rupees kg. Today it has come to 10 rupees. Onion has got to 70, 80 rupees now. So after 2-3 months it will come down to 10 rupees. So such wide fluctuations in the market situation. But the input cost goes on increasing. Have you ever observed urea cost has been reduced? Or DAP or Sufala or this 1515 or 1919 complex fertilizers? They are not reduced. It goes on increasing year by year. But here the fluctuation is so much. So farmers are suffering. So that's why people will be very cautious for investment. Something to maintain that land, they will continue. So of course zero budget means I have already told. So change in the agriculture scenario for the past 20 to 30 years, people do not feel like investing on agriculture. Because if you invest in agriculture, you are not sure to get it back. So that is the reason. So chemical-free farming systems, that is the reason people are now going for organic farming systems, or now the latest is natural farming system. So these systems will have less cost or zero cost on the external purchased inputs. That is the reason we call it as zero budget. But whatever it may be, that word they have already removed. So Subhash Palekar told, then zero budget means no investment on external purchase. Now it is changed to SPNF, that is Subhash Palekar Natural Farming. Even that also they have changed to only NF, Natural Farming. So need for this ZBNF, why this is required? So ensuring food security, because population is increasing on one hand. See now the population is to India though. 141 crores, we are number one in the world. Not for any other thing but for population. How's Very good, go ahead. So to get the food for these people, that is very important. 2030 we are projecting 150 crores. Food we want 400 million tons. Not a single acre is increasing. How's still the cultivable area is reducing because we need facilities, buildings, schools, hospitals, roads and everything, industries. So we need land for all these things. All this agricultural land is diverted. And in completely adjacent to Bangalore, if you say Bangalore, all around 50 kilometers, not a single acre is cultivated. Everything is converted to real estate, sites, buildings. So the situation is so bad, area is reducing, but we want more food. So how to increase? See, per acre, per unit area, we have to increase the production. So there are so many avenues. See, as an agricultural scientist, we should think in the future years with the limited land, with the limited resources. Climate is also harsh on us. So with all this, how to increase the production to meet the food requirement. Otherwise, if you are not self-sustainable, definitely there will be aggression from our friends like China or Pakistan or anybody. So we have to be self-sustaining. So to sustain ourselves, at the same time we have to market to other countries also. Then export potential also we have to increase. So for all these things, agriculture demands the productivity enhancement, at the same time, so the good quality also. So now even the FAO also advocates the environment friendly farming methods like natural farming. So that is chemical free food. Then chemical farming has food poison and also reduced yield by making lands barren, that I already explained. Farmers' welfare and sustainable practices are vital for sustainable and productive economy. So farmers' welfare and also the welfare of citizens, that is also important. So ZBNF constitutes an effective strategy for achieving the SDG Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Out of that, goal number 2 is zero hunger and sustainability in production. For that, for Karnataka, we only did it, the project report to Niti Aayog. Then it constitutes effective strategy for achieving okay. So again, ZBNF introduction enough I have given. It has attained a wide success in different states, especially from Andhra we took it up, and Andhra, then Himachal Pradesh has launched. Government of India has taken up 2nd October 2019 in all KVKs. That's what Dr. Veerana was telling. So it is a farming practice that believes in natural growth of crops without adding any chemical fertilizers or pesticides. So the 4 wheels of ZBNF, it must have been already told by other speakers. Bijamrita, Jivamrita, then mulching and Vapasa, all these things must have been explained to you. But apart from this, so you have to have composting itself. See, what we have proposed in every farm, there must be a composting unit and also water conservation unit. What we say in Kannada, Valakundu Vanda anta. 10% of your land, if you own 10 acres land, 1 acre you have to set apart for composting unit and water harvesting structures. Government should give fund, and in the budget also we have proposed that scheme. So farm for every field, so farm pond. So that will cater to the needs of soil conservation and all. So we are also taking up such on a demonstration mode in different districts with the help of CSR funds. So that will cater in the future years both in the nutrition as well as for water saving. So we should have the in situ green manuring. Green manuring is another important practice in natural farming. So formation of contour bunds for soil and water conservation, planting trees, especially drumstick. Drumstick fetches market you will get after 18 months. Every month you can harvest and you can get sufficient money. Market rates have not come down. Almost every drumstick it will cost about 5 to 6 rupees in the market. Sometimes it goes up to 10, 15 rupees. But drumstick is one good crop all around the bunds. Then promote IFS approach, integrated farming system, I was explaining. So advantages of ZBNF. So reduced input cost and higher yields. It is not so simply we tell higher yields. How do we get? I will tell on all 10 agroclimatic zones in Karnataka what is the yield level, which crop, how this has done for average 4 years, 5 years data I have. Yield increase has not taken place. Simply we tell it gives higher yield. Am I right? Yield increase ಆಗಿದೆ ಯಾರನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ? How many of you have done natural farming trials? Which crop you have done, madam? Maize. Maize and red gram. In which crop you have found advantage? Huh? Pulse crops. Maize, you have lost the crop. Almost 20-30% yield loss is there in most of the crops. Yes, what madam tells. Oil seeds at least after 2 or 3 years we can stabilize. Pulses we can get advantage. So, but maize or heavy feeding crops, sugarcane also will not get yield advantage illa. So that is the result of all 10 zones. Okay. Then ensure decent livelihood of small holder farms. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು. Nothing will happen so easily. Livelihood improvement ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಗುತ್ತಾ? Is it possible? Then restore ecosystem, okay, because of less use of fertilizers and pesticides. So another thing is Palekar will not propose a single crop. He will always say multi-layered cropping systems. Tall crop, middle crop. See, one should shade other like that. If we have visited couple of farms in Karnataka, multi-layered cropping system is the one proposal he has to do. See, if you just grow for one crop, as what madam said, one crop, definitely there will be loss. If multi-layered cropping system is there, automatically the production is enhanced, soil maintenance will be there, periodically you get a crop. So then you can sustain for a longer period. So that is another important factor which you should remember. Even a small landholder also you can have. Really?
almost traditional agricultural system ಅವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ICAR ಆಗಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಎನಿ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಇನ್ ಮಹಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ has made a team of scientists to visit this farm to know what he is telling. ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಕ್ರಾಪ್ ಈಗ ಅವ್ರು ಯಾವ ರೀಜನ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಹಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ ಅಂತ ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ನಾನು ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರೈನ್ಫಾಲ್ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಇದು ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಿದರ್ಭ ರೀಜನ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಡ್ರಾಟ್ ಅಫೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಹಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕ್ರಾಪ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಕ್ರಾಪಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಗೆ ಇವರು ಅಡಾಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಓವರ್ ದಿ ಇಯರ್ಸ್ has given the answer for it, because Vidarbha is the one region which has seen lot of suicides in the
every year we see 200 to 300. Even now also suicides.
If that is the case, a study ಮಾಡಿ ಹೌದು ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ಏನು 15 years back ಓವರ್ ಸ್ವಿಚಿಂಗ್ ಓವರ್ ಇಂಟು ದಿ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ಏನು ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಯಿತು, ಅದು ಅವರಿಂದ ಇದು ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬೇರೆ, ಬಟ್ ಅವರಿಂದ ರಿಯಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಕಲಿತು ಅಡಾಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ರೈತರು ಆ ಕ್ರಾಪಿಂಗ್ ಎಕೋಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸರ್ವೈವ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವ್ರು ಅಥವಾ ಸಸ್ಟೈನಬಲ್ ಈಲ್ಡ್ ಅಥವಾ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ನ ಪಡೆದಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಏನಾದರೂ ಡಾಟಾ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕ್ ಅನಾಲಿಸಿಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಿದೆಯಾ?
Any other question for the supplement for whatever Dinesh question, whatever he has raised is very valid point.
In any demonstration blocks, we want to see different demonstration, multi-cropping, vegetables, flower crops, perennials. If they have a data of 5 years, so we can ask. And otherwise, it's not.
One day visit you can make for Dharwad. Dharwad visit ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ for all your questions answers will be there. Both horticulture is there and agriculture is there. 2 units we have given out of 10 agricultural zones we give for 2, one for horticulture, one for field crops. So you can make a visit. Dharwad you can go in 3 hours. Sir. I request that you can I will tell him, and he is in touch with both leaders, one administrator and another Anand Masti. So they will definitely arrange and show you. Okay, that's for your question answer is there. For which question? The next question? Any answer? Time will be there, Vidya. What is it that shall I go up to 130? Yeah, it's a very valid question. See,
this Palekar came to Bangalore in 2005 or so. A very huge reception was there by the government of Karnataka, and they arranged a talk in banquet hall of Vidhan Sabha. And I was director of research at that point of time in Bangalore. And Dr. Hanchinal was there, he was director of research in Harvard. We were invited. At that time only 2 universities were there in Karnataka. So we also participated in his talk and all. It was so many farmers, hundreds of farmers, so many ministers, including chief minister, they all participated. And everybody appreciated. Then any questions they asked. I raised my hand and so I introduced myself. I am so and so, Director of Research, University of Agricultural Sciences, Bangalore. And whatever Subhash Palekar ji has told, excellent, no problem. But this needs to be demonstrated. I will give you 10 acres of land, all funds, facilities, research staff, field staff, irrigation, everything I will provide. Let him demonstrate his technology. Whatever he told for more than 45 minutes, 1 hour, let him demonstrate. And in Kushinala is conducted every year in all universities. Okay. GKVK annually we get not less than 10 lakhs. Now it has gone to 15 lakh farmers per year for Kushinala. We will showcase it. Showcase it to all farmers. We bring out publications. And whatever, even for whatever royalty he wants, 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, we are ready to give. The only thing is let him visit once in a month and guide the field staff, and I will take personal responsibility to supervise everything. Then suddenly our Dr. Hanchinal also got up. He also said, sir, I am also giving 10 acres, you can demonstrate at Dharwad also. Oh, we'll see, sir, we'll see. And we wrote letters, we communicated, we spoke to him. He did not turn up. So, for your question answer, you got it? See, that is the practical problem. See, this happened subsequently also. In 2018, our Honorable Chief Minister, then Kumar Swamiji, he announced a package. We will start zero budget natural farming in Karnataka for 1 lakh hectares. Every year 20,000 hectares we will cover. He made a budget speech and he allocated 50 crores. In the month of March, April, May, June, all went, and this did not take off. What to do? They have announced, and government finance department, they go on asking the agriculture department, what happened every month? There is no progress, you are not submitting the project report and what? So finally, in the month of October 16th or so I was not there for 5-6 months, I was in US with my daughter. So I came in the 1st of October and the Department of Agriculture, they were all my friends and they requested me to attend that meeting, convened by Mr. Subramaniam. He was an IAS officer who is also an economic advisor for Honorable Chief Minister. So he had convened the meeting and we all went. So all university directors of research and so-called great professors and all were there. Every university people, they started telling the same thing. Whatever Dr. Dinesh is telling, no, we cannot do anything. It is not at all. Instead of using the word bogus, they are telling negatively. Whatever the funds they have allocated, let it be diverted to some other scheme. So when the turn came to my side, then most of the directors of research were my well-known friends and juniors. I told them, see, what we are doing, what the government wants, they want to validate the technology, whatever Subhash Palekar is telling, in the farmers' field and also in the university forums. So you are doing hundreds of experiments every year. Do you think everything will succeed? So many failures will be there. So likewise, think if this is a failure, you are getting money, you are getting more than 150 people employment. What else you want? Can you not do this? Everybody kept quiet. Then I told, I will give you the format. I want within 1 week the concept note from all the universities. So that we will see that was 16th October. By 30th October, I will see that funds are released to the universities. That's what Veerana was telling. See, the 50 crores allocation was given to all universities, 10 crores each. Who will give in the government? With a simple, but the universities also came up within a week. They gave the concept notes and I went to the Dr. Subramaniam and again I met the Chief Minister and I proposed all these things and it was approved and amount was released. So that's why for the past 5 years, see, whether it is useful or not, that I don't want to commit myself. What Madam also told, so many things. I have the result for all 10 agroclimatic zones for 5 years. Subsequent slides are there. But whatever it may be, in that situation, we conduct the trials. What is there? We may get good result or not. But see, one thing is, see, he is telling 4 things. Bijamrita, Jivamrita, then mulching and Vapasa, 4 things he is telling. Another important factor he is telling, use Desi cow. It is a must. Desi cow is a must. In the natural farming system. Why? The content of Desi cow, cow dung and cow urine is almost 3 to 4 times higher in rhizobium or bacillus or any microbial count. So I told them before starting the season, have a Desi cow in your station, collect the cow dung. Anyhow, your microbiology 6 disciplines we gave. So microbiologist let him analyze cow dung and cow urine, compare with crossbred cows. How it is different. He may be claiming so many things. Let it be scientifically validated. So they came out with results within 2 months. In the month of December, every university they gave the data of so much of microbial advantages. If the soil is using this type of cow urine, cow dung, and soil microflora buildup is there, automatically soil organic matter improve, soil structure improves, nutrient status will improve, and there will be advantages. It may not be in the same season. It may take 2 years, 3 years, again on crops. It depends on crop. So that's how we started this natural farming, and Subhash Palekarji came in the month of December. He came and we went to several states and all 10 zones scientists also, I took them along with Subhash Palekarji in Karnataka only, right from Tumkur, Siddhganga Matta, From there we went up to Hassan, then Mysore district, all so many farmers who are practicing natural farming, ZBNF for the past 5 years, 10 years, how the multi-layered cropping, really it's advantageous. But you should have commitment for cultivation. Stay there in the field, be with the farm, be with the crops, then all the systems, whatever he is telling, it has to be practiced, not one or two. So if you do in a systematic way, automatically over a period of 4-5 years, you will improve the soil, at the same time yield also you will improve. But market is another problem. See, you should not expect 20% higher or 30% higher because it's organic and all. Nobody will buy. There is a market survey study. Poor people will not buy these things. How poor people will they pay higher and buy? Even in cities, they will not buy. Okay. You go to any mall. Poor people will not come there at all. Even middle class people will go. If the board is organic, it is 25 rupees. Other thing is 20 rupees. They will buy 20 rupees only. Not the 25 rupees. Am I right? But rich people, IAS officers, or big landlords, they will not come to the market. Who will come? The drivers, so security people, they will come and they will buy the small things only. The survey data shows even they also don't buy. Because they will give the bill like that only organic, but they will buy these things only. So that is the real crux of the situation. That is the ground reality. You should understand. Okay? See, this is the one slide which I wanted to tell you. Desi cow. Without a Desi cow, because Karnataka we have Malnad Gidda, so many Desi cows are there. You compare the things, Subhash Palekar says for every cow dung 1 kg, 300 to 500 crore beneficial effective microorganisms has effect 50 to 70 lakhs. That means almost 5 to 6 times. But this is scientifically proved. So crossbred HF cows should not be used in zero budget natural farming. Do you know the crossbred cow's milk? Every day you take. Whatever we get from Nandini or Jodla or so many companies, that milk. Again, it contains lot of antibiotics because they have to give injections for these cows to produce more and more. If it is giving 5 liters, 10 liters, they want to increase to 15 liters, 20 liters, and automatically for that they give the antibiotics and also enzymes and all hormones, injections they give. So that is the system. What we drink, we are surviving, of course. So natural farming, this has been already repeated, Bijamrut, Jivamrut, Vapasa, mulching and all. See, apart from these 4, we should think of intercropping also. Intercropping is a must. Then contours and bunding, moisture conservation. Then local species of earthworm, of course whatever we have, Hydrolus eugenia is a very good earthworm, that you should promote. Then a tree-based cropping system, then cow dung and cow urine, integrated farming systems. These are the other important principles other than those 4 principles. For plant protection, you must have already told Agni Astra, Brahmastra, Neemastra,
how these are prepared and all this for pest control. But do you know in the field, do they control? How many of you practiced these prepared and sprayed? Any feedback? Any? Feedback from the farmer or from your researcher? Huh? That's why we should have prophylactic spray. Repeated sprays are required for control of these things, but seldom farmers will do. And that is the real problem. Karnataka, I was telling you the story. There's all teams, then selected farmers training, exposure visits, all these things are being arranged from the past 5 years. So progress in the first year itself, nearly 29,000 farmers we selected. So this is the baseline survey, first to convince the farmers. Then soil analysis was done for in all throughout the state, in all agroclimatic zones. Then training programs on preparing Jivamruta, Bijamruta, all these things, those things were taken up. Then exposure visits, this Subhash Palakarji had come, along with him we also went. See, this is Niti Aayog team. In 2019 itself they visited, after the visit of Subhash Palakar, Niti Aayog people, they were also convinced after visiting the farmers' fields. So thereby we could see the good response from Government of India, and they coined the natural farming system for the entire country. So that system they gave to KVKs also, and also for the state governments. So it again depends on political decisions. So long the BJP government was there, we were given the CM natural farming system and funds were given. Now this year they have stopped. Automatically we don't know when they will start. So all such systems, when it is an interference with political system, it will not be in our hands. We are requesting from on behalf of all the 10 zones, at least whatever is left over unspent balance, please permit us to use it. But also they are not in a position to give the clearance. See, these are the 4 treatments we initially started. So farmers practice, then organic farming, then zero budget natural and recommended package of practice. Simple 4 treatments, both in university farms and also in the farmers' fields. So these are the 10 agroclimatic zones of our state. So northeastern transition zone. In all zones, the ZBNF teams are constituted, and as I was telling, almost about 12 to 15 staff members were there in that unit, and a good work was turned out. The first northeastern transition zone, that is in Bidar and parts of Raichur, not Raichur, Gulbarga, Bidar and Gulbarga. So again what Madam expressed, see black gram, that's all pulses generally. So this we have tried black gram, Bengal gram, soybean plus pigeon pea, sugarcane, all crops they have tried. And over a period of some 3 years, 4 years, pulses especially, in all zones, pulses have given good response. But oil seeds to some extent, yield advantage may not be there, but yield loss is not substantial. But the other heavy feeders like maybe sugarcane or even paddy or maize, we are not successful. Even cotton, we are not successful. The yield advantage is almost to 20% reduction. If it is 5 to 10% reduction, we can maintain because the cost of production is less here. So automatically it will maintain, and pollution will not be there, and soil quality will not be affected. So keep these advantages are there, and treating almost taking 20% additional cost in the market, so we will get better price and better returns. That was the calculations we had, but ultimate result is like that. So think again in the northeast transition zone, black gram, Bengal gram, soybean, for 5 years so many crops they have taken up with those 4 treatments. And northeast dry zone, that is parts of Gulbarga and Raichur, we get this, their result is say soil bulk density was found to be reduced and organic farming practice compared to initial and final. Porosity and water holding capacity increased. That's definitely because of the better organic matter content. If you apply, apart from this Jivamrita, Ghana Jivamrita has to be applied. We have recommended at least 200 to 400 kgs of Ghana Jivamrita for crop. So for every crop, then only you can get some result. Otherwise, even in pulses, it is very difficult. So in the system, we have recommended like that, and they have followed. Apart from these 4 pillars, Ghana Jivamrita is also one that has to be applied invariably for crop production, like whatever we do in our technology and for crop production. So this is a northern dry zone. This parts of Raichur, Bellary, Bijapur, Bagalkot. So here also they have taken green gram and Rabi sorghum as a system. There also we have seen the yield advantage and all. So natural farming has given recorded 24.7 and 11.8% reduction in yield over conventional farming. So depends on the system. Green gram may be advantageous, but Rabi sorghum, it becomes disadvantageous. So central dry zone, that is the parts of Chitradurga and Tumkur. So we get for groundnut, so better yield advantage. Pulses, oil seeds in almost all zones. Initially there may be on par, but over years, 3 years, 4 years, definitely yield advantage is there. But not in case of maize or sugarcane or heavy feeders. Maize plus field gain, intercropping. So recommended package of practices, invariably it gives higher production because there will be organic FIM application plus fertilizers. Over the course of 4 years, it was found that organic system had a higher organic carbon content, that is 0.56%, whereas recommended practice 0.46. So long-term studies, we recommended for at least 10 years this study should be continued. But if the government continues the support, definitely we will go for 10 years and see that what is its effect. So over a period of time, otherwise we may not get the correct picture. Then zone 5 and 6, I think Dr. Sanjay must have explained in the morning online. Sanjay is the coordinator for zone 5 and 6. There also they started after 21-22 another 2 treatments, that is the FR and the national natural farming 2, where the organic farming is combined. That is a farmer's practice. So they have added. And in paddy we are not successful, whereas in the green gram we can see the natural farming, we have got good response. In most of the this one green gram we have got good response. Then for cowpea, finger millet we have initially we did not get good response. But when you combine with organic farming, that is especially with vermicompost and other things, definitely we have got good advantage. Demonstrations were also taken up for 3 years, 2019, 20, 21. So farmers' practice yields are superior over natural farming practices in the initial years. So in the field bean plant protection, the pest problems were really very high in that's why, because Madam was also telling that repeated sprays, prophylactic measures have to be taken to control pests and diseases. So plant inference, higher number of population was present in organic farming. So the organic farming will promote the soil microflora also, both natural farming also. That is very important. So that is southern transition zone, that is Shimoga and parts of Hassan and parts of Mysore. They call southern transition zone. See, they have done, Dr. Veerana was the leader for this, groundnut, maize plus field bean, paddy. So package of practices has given higher yield in paddy. That is undisputed in all zones. So groundnut nutrient status and significantly higher in package of practices as compared to organic farming and natural farming. So marginal increase is there, pod yield, nutrient status, benefit cost ratio 1.92 in natural farming seen in organic farming treatment. See, benefit cost ratio that I was explaining you, the cost, total cost of production reduces and the marketing, we are selling the produce at 20% higher than the market price. Thereby, even if there is a yield loss of 5 to 10%, you are going to manage and increase the cost. There is a profit. Then northern transition zone, Dharwad, parts of Belgaum, Haveri and all, they have done on so many crops. That's why Dr. Veerana, is there? He went off. I will tell him to take you to Dharwad once. Have an interaction with Dr. Chandrasekhar and also Dr. Anand Mastivali. Morning you should go 6 o'clock, you will reach by 9 o'clock there. Just 3 hours. Huh? ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ವಿಸಿಟ್ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಹಾಂ, ಅದೇ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ವೀಕು ಅದು ವಿಸಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಹೋದರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ರಿಯಾಲಿಟಿ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಎನಿ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೈ ಟೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ ಎನಿಬಡಿ ಟೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್, ದಿಟ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್ ಥಿಯರಿಟಿಕಲ್. ಸೊ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಯುವರ್ ಡೌಟ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಯುವರ್ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ, ಬಟ್ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಗೋ ಟು ದ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್, so then most of the doubts will be clarified. So they have done on so many crops, dolichos, coriander, tomato. So all these crops you can see in the farm. I have visited couple of times in all 10 zones. I know the basic things, but it's really good. Dharwad studies in both horticulture and agriculture, both systems are really good. So you can have interaction and see the field, and both they are just nearby, just 5 kilometers difference. You can see Dharwad and also Mummigatti, there is another station of horticulture. So both are there, you can see, and also select some farmers fields also. I can talk to Chandrasekhar and also Anand. So they can take en route while returning from Dharwad. So either in Haveri or in near Badgi, or there are a couple of farmers who have taken up these things. 1 or 2 farmers also you can visit and come back to Shimoga. So hilly zone also they have lot of work on banana based intercropping, French bean and ginger. Then experience of farmers for about 10 years, there has been significant increase in number of earthworms. See, these are farmers' opinions. Then there is increase in number of nuts and shell size in coconut. Then increase in growth rate of vines with dark green leaves in black pepper. Reduced incidence of rust disease in black pepper. There has been increase in net income with good return on capital expenditure. So these are some of the opinions expressed by the farmers. Then coastal zone, this is of course for Bapoli it is the same Arabian Sea. Bapoli and Brahmavar, they are all same agroclimatic conditions. See, they have done on paddy based cropping system. Where one Dr. Kamath is there in Brahmavar. So paddy grain yield, straw yield, length of paddy situation is significantly higher in package of practices as compared to the natural farming. So he says both in black gram, groundnut, in all crops highest income, overall different paddy based systems. So in all the things, but only in the rhizosphere microorganisms are increased in case of the natural farming. Otherwise yield and other things, it requires some more time because heavy rainfall.
How many years they have answered this result?
4 years. 5th year they could not do because of funds. 4 years they have done. You can visit Brahmavar also, if time, how many days you have, I don't know. Brahmavar also just 3 hours drive from Bangalore, Shimoga. Their coastal system, and you can visit Brahmavar and also go to Udupi, have darshan of Lord Krishna and blessings also. So how many places? Shimoga going to Dharwad one, you can coastal area also, that is also within the jurisdiction of this university. There is no problem for organizing. So coconut they have done, plantation crops, cashew they have done. So tea mosquito for most important pest after 2 sprays were significantly lower in the improved village treatment. So there are some advantages. So experimental results 1819, you can see the mean package of practices has given higher production, 14.93 quintals as against 12.71. So for all situations, Raichur, Kaudimatti, then Hiriyur, Shimoga, Brahmavara zone 10, not zone 8 allag. Zone 10, that one, sorry, mistake is there. Zone 3 they have done for Rabi Jawar, then wheat, then Bengal gram. So yield advantage is not there, statistically it is not significant except in case of wheat, that is 600. Only package of practices has given good response. All other treatments are on par. So other locations, they are also on par. Even if there is that is a arithmetical difference is there, but statistically it is not different. Then treatment zone wise yields, zone 5 GKVK field bean again package of practices is higher, green gram. It's almost same natural farming also 630, 642. Only farmers practice is lower. So it is on par. Then cowpea again it is package of practice is not there. Okay. Then beans package of practices has given higher yield. Brahmavara black gram, it is almost on par. So likewise a general conclusions we can make, pulses, oil seeds, we can get a better response. So what we have to do in the future years? See, you can see these farmers producer organizations are there in Karnataka. There are nearly 400 organizations are there in Karnataka, both in agriculture department and horticulture department, watershed development department, for various purposes. Government is giving lot of facilities. So the farmers, initially we started 1,000 farmers should be there in FPO, but now they have come down even to 500 also. So there See, they have to contribute members 1,000 rupees, so 1,000 becomes 10 lakhs. Government will give matching 10 lakhs, so 20 lakhs is the initial capital for the organization, and subsequently they will be given license for pesticides, fertilizers and all. They can take up all this trading, marketing license will be given, so both input subsidies and export markets also for their marketing of the produce. There are successful, several FPOs are there. So this should also be promoted in the form of FPO. Then training and exposure visit to farmers fields, selected farmers fields, so you should take them and show how it is advantageous. So if they interact with the farmers, they will get better knowledge. Then research activities should continue on long-term studies, soil physical, chemical and biological properties. See what we have in dryland, what mostly Dr. Murali may explain. Since 1976 we have a fixed site in GKVK. Like in the Raghamstead, that is 100 years study, here almost 50 years. It is same location. We have control plot, recommended application of fertilizers, then organic farming and cropping systems we have. So we can see the effect of the crops over a longer period. That is required in this natural farming also. So nutrient dynamics, how nutrients supply, production, supply and utilization, all these things should be studied. So meta-analysis of soil flora and fauna, that is also required, so that which microorganism is increasing, which is being affected. All these things have to be studied. So to protect environment and soil health, so a lot of propaganda as publicity is required. So only natural, no organic, no chemicals, zero budget natural farming. So this is the, who is this gentleman? Lal Bahadur Shastri. In 1965 photo of the paper litho, I took it. So thank you for listening patiently, and if you have any questions, queries, yes, most welcome.
Sir, any marketing policy of alternatives for
I told the marketing system how it is functioning at the explain Alva.
See, Bangalore example like in marketing, there are, Devkumar document ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, more than 500 organic farming outlets are there, Bangalore, where the cost of these organic products are nearly 15 to 20% higher than the chemically produced produce. Even natural farming produce also will come there. But what is happening, out of these 500 and odd which were given license, not even 200 are functioning. If you go to any shop, not a single customer will be there. So that is the practical problem. Over a period of time, 1 or 2 years, they will just close down or they will convert it into some other shop. See, marketing of these products, that's why I said you should go in the form of farmer producer organizations. Then make some products. Post-harvest processing you have to do. Instead of selling tomato, you make it ketchup or the sauce or like that. Branding is done and it has to be marketed. For example, Chintamani is one of the units we have in our university jurisdiction. Chintamani station, they grow lot of mango, lot of other vegetables or fruits, grapes, all crops are there. See, market, if you go and buy a Kisan jam, how much it will be for a half kg bottle? Kisan or any jam. ದಯಮಾಡಿ ಯಾವಾಗ anybody is using any jam, small packet 25-30 rupees ಅಲ್ವಾ, that weighs only 50 grams. So 100 grams means 50 rupees. 1 kg is 500 rupees. Alva? But our KVK in Chintamani, they started 6 months ago a jam production unit, and we are selling at 300 rupees only. For 1 kg bottle is there, package, or 2 kg, 3 kg, like that. It is every day, whatever we produce about 100 kgs every day, that's sold. We do not add so much of sugar what these people add. And for this Kisan Jam and other things, the expiry date is 1 year. For ours it's only 90 days. What is the advantage? See, if you have a longer storage period, we will have to apply more and more preservatives. They are carcinogenic. So, what we thought was, let us use it, but 90 days is fairly big enough. Let them use, if the family is smaller, let them take half kg. Instead of going to go for 2 kg bottle. If there is hostels or hotels, they can take 2 kg, 4 kg bottles, containers. So, keeping that in mind, we are using less preservatives, less sugar. So, definitely this is a health conscious material. The publicity has taken place. If you get an opportunity, visit our Krishi Mela on 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th of this November. So, in Bangalore. So much of all these materials will make it available. So definitely it will be an educative program for all of you. Okay, then next step. Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, you have raised a couple of issues. See, the feeding habit in relation to the microflora of cow dung and cow urine, that has not been correlated. That is a researchable issue with veterinary scientists. I fully agree. Second point is, whatever they have studied, collected randomly from basic cow and from the crossbred cows, and they have come up with the microbial status. And whether that is due to feeding habit, maybe, sure, but this has to be established scientifically with an animal scientist, animal microbiologist. We can do it as a way forward. We can take up that study, no issue. But if you think of crossbred cows, that too for milking purpose, definitely it is advantageous. Economically also it is advantageous because they get 8 to 10 liters, sometimes even 12 liters per milking schedule. But here hardly you may get 1 liter or 1.5 liters. This is for the purpose of milking and using for the production of cow dung and cow urine for improving your soil health. But maintaining these things and for a large scale and it may be uneconomical also. So that is also a point. But it is really a good researchable issue in the future years. Okay, good. Yes, sir, please. Good question. See, doubling of farmers' income, you raised another issue. In fact, we prepared for Karnataka from our own NGO, doubling of farmers' income in Karnataka, how this has to be done and all. So, in fact, our report was the best report as per Niti Ayog's recommendations. See, the doubling of farmers' income is on one side, it is again through chemical farming only. Chemical, give irrigation, give all types of nutrients, plant protection measures and all, they have to be done in one hand, production side, and in the market network. Market network has to be done in a very systematic way, and they should be given all facilities for storage and also for processing and post-harvest management. If entire thing is taken care of, definitely we can go for doubling of farmers' income, at least in selected crops, in selected areas we have identified. But natural farming or organic farming, how many are there in Karnataka? Do you have any idea? Karnatakaದಲ್ಲಿ farmers families, there are 83 lakh farmer families are there. How many are there in natural farming or organic farming? For since 20 years we have twice organic farming policies. 2006 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂತು, 2016 ಅಲ್ಲಿ we got. So organic farming policy ಬಂತು. We gave lot of encouragement. Even today it is not crossed 1.5 lakhs to 2 lakhs. They are in that range only. It has become only fashion. People say, you see what happened in Sri Lanka. They converted entire country as organic farming country. They became paupers and they become completely lost. What is happening in Sikkim? In fact, we were in the committee for Northeast region, see QRT committee, I was one of the member. Sikkim, what is there? It is a natural organic farming state in the country and all. Where is there? Hardly 40 to 50,000 hectares is cultivated, and every plot is a small plot of half an acre, quarter acre, beside the background of the farm. And they say it is organic farming. So by default it is organic farming only because they don't apply fertilizers. In the entire northeast, average fertilizer consumption is less than 20 kg. As in Punjab, it is more than 250 kg. Karnataka 130 kg. See, fertilizer consumption is low. See, organic farming as such will not flourish unless it is backup support by the farming community or the marketing agencies and convert them into bottles and all post-harvest processing branded products like what they do in export market for foreign countries. Otherwise, this may not take off on a large scale. If you think of going on a large scale, again we will repeat the Sri Lankan experience. Okay? Tell me.
I hope any questions?
as compared to package of practices and this. Almost 20 to 25% we can reduce, provided you are stationed in the farm and utilize all the principles of natural farming. Multi-layered cropping system if you follow, definitely you can reduce the cost of cultivation by 20 to 25%. That's why for all our calculations we have taken 20% higher than the market price for the produce. So thinking that around 25% reduction in the production cost will be there. Okay.
Any questions?
Hmm. Good. ನೋಡಿ ಇದೆ ಅರೆಕನೆಟ್ ಇದೆ, ಅರೆಕನೆಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ಸ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸ್ಟೇಷನ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಡನ್, ಬಟ್ ಆನ್ ಕೋಕೋನಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್, ಕೋಕೋನಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದೇರ್. ಬಟ್ ಈ ಪೆರಿನಿಯಲ್ ಕ್ರಾಪ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ I gave an example of forest. See, their requirement is hardly 5 to 10% of their what absorbs by the soil, because the leaf fall is there, and over a period of time every year, lot of changes will take place in soil microflora, and nutrient dynamics is very low. So that is the reason why they get better response, especially in natural farming or organic farming. We get good response in all plantation crops, no doubt about it. That's why I was telling Dr. Veeramar, I was suggesting them, although Dr. Chandrasekhar will ಬಂದಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ, so with all that we can plan for a day visit for Dharwad, so we can have both Dharwad agriculture as well as horticulture. So, good, excellent. So then you will get a lot of your questions will be clarified when you see on the field. And they are also very dynamic. Chandrasekhar must have already spoken to you, and Anand Masthavali is also equally good. And the team is also wonderful. You can have very good practical experience there in Dharwad. So if you have time, you to go to Brahmawar also. Agala, in schedule it is difficult, but at least this is okay. And en route, you can think of 1 or 2 farmers fields also.
Yesterday they visited 2 farmers fields, sir. And on 5th also we are visiting 2 farmers.
Excellent, excellent. Instead of more and more of classroom, if you visit and interact with the farmers who are practicing natural farming for past 8 to 10 years, definitely you will get a lot of insight into the technology. Okay.
So with this, on the behalf of trainees, organizer and the university, we are incredibly grateful to you, sir, the time you have spent with us, as your powerful and stimulating talk on natural farming with reality is highly encouraging us. Your words is a great source of inspiration for us, and we are highly thankful for you, your presence here, sir. Thank you, sir.